Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Fasa, the Silver Chimera, and I'm back with another recap review of Halo Season 2. Bars. Before we get started, I just want to say that this is going to be one of those kind of unscripted dealies because I want to try to get these out a little faster. So, this is recorded the day of. I've watched the episode twice. I've taken some notes, but I kind of want to skip the whole script writing process and all that kind of stuff. So, episode 4 was pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot. Really good action. Some people did die, unfortunately, but we kind of knew that. But yeah, this was really like the first battle. This was the beginning of the fall of Reach, and it definitely felt like that. Not exactly like the book or the game, but the atmosphere was definitely there. So let's get into it, shall we? Okay, so the episode starts with Vanek feeding his pigeons, because remember, he likes animals now, so that was kind of cute. They start freaking out because, the whole animals sense the storm coming trope, and they start freaking out. They fly away, and he's like, what the fuck? And then something explodes in the distance, so that's fun. And, the Covenant's here. So we cut to Perez and Chief. Chief has to kind of like pull her off of the church that's exploding, and I think they go back to her house, and like the family's dead. I could be wrong, but it happened kind of fast. But people are dying. And after that, we get some of Perez and Chief trying to get back to FleetCom, and on the way they come across like a city street. I think it's the same street from the first episode, I believe, that has like that big holographic Master Chief propaganda thing that's super weird. And this scene was great because Chief sees some cloaked elites over yonder, and he just gets ready with the violence and spears this fucking elite through the window and just starts beating his ass. Great fight scene. The choreography was really strong. It was violent. It was fast. Chief pulls out the knife and just starts giving him the old 1-2. And the elite throws him, and people are getting thrown everywhere, and it's really cool. He ends up getting the kill by grabbing like a table leg and just ramming it through his neck. Really dope, really cool. And it's cool to see Chief out of the armor beat the shit out of some elites. So it's not just the suit, right? So that was kind of cool. I will bring up the whole suit thing later, but this was pretty neat. After that, we get a scene with Soren and Halsey are both in that hologram prison. They have some good dialogue. Then we cut back to Perez and Chief, and the Chief is really bad at like helping people feel better. I don't know the word, condolences. He's not good at that thing. He's not good at being a people, right? So Perez is like freaking out, understandably so. She's kind of having a day, and Chief is like, we got to do the mission. And Perez is like, can you give me a fucking second? And Chief is just kind of standing there awkwardly. Okay. During the whole planet burning thing, they get into a building and they hide. Chief finds just an axe, which was interesting to see Master Chief holding an axe. And he tells Perez about the infamous coin flip. And if you're a Halo fan, you know what I'm talking about. But for those who do not know, when Halsey first met John when he was a child, she would flip a coin over and over, and John called it every single time. And it's always been kind of this symbol of his luck, because I think I've said this in other videos, Master Chief's like main superpower, if you would, is that he's really fucking lucky. So it's this interesting little metaphor because he never really sees it as luck. And if I remember correctly, the book kind of says that he's like looking at the coin and like watching it, and he's like, oh, it's gonna land on heads, and he says heads every time. So it's this weird kind of like mixture of a symbol, because it's weird that it landed on heads like 11 times in a row, but it's also the fact that he's like watching. So it's like this kind of, maybe this is just my interpretation, but it's like Chief makes his own luck by being observant. Is that the word? He's, he pays attention. He's observant. And that's what allows him to be lucky, right? Because it's that old saying of like preparation plus opportunity equals luck, right? So after he explains the whole luck thing, Perez and Chief find themselves in an antique shop, I guess, And this old lady who is a really terrible shot shoots at Chief and misses. Maybe looking back on it, maybe that's another instance of luck, because there's like no reason she should have missed, but she missed. And Perez tries to tell this lady that she needs to GTFO right now. The planet's on fire. And she's like, no, I have an old chessboard that's like 600 years old. And she's like, I don't care. None of that matters. And again, it's another instance of this weird shaman-y. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it felt so, she's here to say the thing that Chief needs to hear, I guess. I don't know. I'll have more theories on that later. Fun fact, in the scene that I'm talking about in the antique shop, there is an old OG Xbox in the background, which was a fun notice. And that's one of those weird things of like, now since the Xbox is in the Halo universe, does that mean there was Halo? Whatever. It's not that deep. Just a fun little reference. Moving on. We get more of Soren and Halsey. Halsey kind of alludes to she let Soren get away, which was an interesting little wrinkle. And he doesn't like that, but we'll get back to that later. Then we get a really dope action sequence in the middle of the street. Chief and Perez link up with like Riz, and she's holding the minigun, just laying hate. Looked awesome. Luis has a grenade launcher, and he's just dropping motherfuckers. Dope scene. Really good, like tight camera work and just explosions and gunfire. I will take a second to explain. I think what I really loved that they did, and hopefully they'll continue to do, is the plasma has this like molten effect. So instead of just being like a blue pop and then the guy falls over, kind of like Star Wars, there's like a hole in their chest and they fall over. It'll like hit things and then like melt what it hits, and it'll be like a splash along with the explosion. And it just looks really cool. It looks different. And, I think that's that attention to detail that I like, because they're using plasma weapons, like everything of the Covenant, besides the Needler, I guess, and the other needle-like weapons, and maybe some of the brute weapons, but most of the Covenant weaponry is plasma, right? So it's this glob of heated material that, that it hits things and splatters and sprays and pierces, and it really cool. And in the scene, you see a lot of that in the action. So it was a cool little attention to detail that I liked a lot. Through the action scene, Luis, his boyfriend, who I cannot remember the name of, I apologize, but I like that character. Luis, the boyfriend, Chief, Riz, Perez, and some other jobber Marines start going through this like apartment building, and we get some really cool hallway fight stuff. Who doesn't love a good hallway fight scene? Daredevil. What's that one movie? Damn it. Old boy. I'm not saying it's on that level, but it's in the same vein of like, it's close. And we get some really cool shots of, like Riz throws a grenade and just blows up like 80 elites. Really cool shit. Unfortunately, Luis's boyfriend dies, and it's like, and it's off screen, but not in a bad way. It's just like in the chaos, Riz looks for him and he's just like dead on the ground. And it's so sad. I was so sad. I did not want him to go out like that, but this is Reach. Then she gets charged by a couple of elites. She throws a grenade, and then like I think the elite throws a grenade, and then like they hit each other and just explode, and then like Riz jumps out the window as the explosion goes off. Pretty badass, pretty dope. When they make it outside, Riz has to break the news that boyfriend didn't make it, and Luis is like, fuck it, I'm going too, because now there's a Wraith down the street, which was cool that we saw Wraith. That's dope. Luis just like he suicide bombs the Wraith, and he goes out like a badass, but I'm so sad that like Luis and boyfriend died. Like, that's not cool, and I'm not okay. He went out like a beast. What are you gonna do? We cut back to Soren and Halsey, and they're trying to get Cortana, because Halsey knows Cortana's here. And when they get there, Cortana says run, and Maki, Chief's booty call, takes Cortana and leaves. And the Arbiter dude, what is his name? I have it. What the fuck is his name? Var Gatanai. Var. And I don't know if he's supposed to be the Arbiter stand. I don't know if like him and Maki equal the Arbiter. I don't know. But he's like the big bad, I guess. Maybe not like the big bad villain, but he's definitely like a force to be reckoned with, if you would. Because when he shows up in the scene with Halsey and Soren, there's like a plate glass between him and Halsey, and he just cuts that. He's just like, bitch, and just cuts it in half. It's so funny because it's like, oh, he has a plasma sword. Yeah. So, he's here, Maki's here. Shit be problems everywhere. So Chief, Perez, Riz get to FleetCom and they meet up with Vanek. And, it's one of those moments of like, yay, the heroes are together. Maybe we're not fucked, even though I know deep down we're fucked. They are talking about stuff, and Perez is kind of like hurt that like Chief is just like, okay, we're here, bye, which I get it, but it's like, he's a Spartan. It's just, it's funny to see like normal person, Spartan person. But he does give her the coin as a token of good luck. So, maybe that'll be a thing. That'll come up later. But while the Spartans of Silver Team, which now consist of John, Riz, and Vanek, they're talking and realize two things. They don't know where Kai is, which is interesting, and their suits are gone. So Ackerson's a piece of shit because he left the planet without telling anyone that y'all are about to go die. And I'm taking I'm going to leave the Spartans, but I'm taking the suits. And remember, there's that shot in the trailer where like Kai is with a bunch of what I think are Spartan 3s. So at some point we're getting Spartan 3s. So I'm assuming that Ackerson took the suits to like reverse engineer what Halsey did, because the whole thing about the Spartan 3 program is it's like we're trying to make super soldiers on the budget. So, I think that's why. And then Kai not being there is interesting because we don't know where she is, but she was talking to Ackerson. So that's something to pay attention to, I suppose. So right now, Keyes is in charge because he stayed behind because he's a real one. And, him and Chief talk about how shit's fucked, but Keyes has an idea. They have to keep all the power stations or, they have to keep all the MacGuffins alive or the Covenant's going to burn the fucking planet. So Keyes breaks it down to that isn't too loud. Keyes breaks it down to the Battle of Thermopylae, which, if you do not know what that is the famous battle of the Spartans. Essentially that's the 300 Spartans. Whether you're talking about the movie or the real actual battle, it's the premise that, if you're fighting someone with bigger numbers, squeeze them into a tiny space and their numbers don't mean shit. Right. So the idea is they're going to put Chief, the Spartans, some real ones like the boys and a tank on one side of the bridge. And then they'll just have the elite, the Covenant, run them down. So everyone kind of gears up for that. Then we cut back over to Soren and Halsey, and Soren he's not okay with the idea that Halsey let him go, but the way Halsey explains it, she did. She realized that everyone kind of looked to Soren as like a leader and as a beacon, and because his augmentation failed, she realized that like she needed like John and the other Spartans, but mostly John because Master Chief is her favorite. Everyone knows that. She let Soren go that way John could find a way through that, I guess, which is an interesting little wrinkle. I wonder what that plays into that. But after that, we get Keyes given one hell of a speech, man, like a really cool speech, great dialogue, really, really good performance. There's a really cute moment where he like calls Chief up to inspire everyone, but like Chief's like Chief has that face of like, what the fuck are you doing? I want to be, oh god damn it. And he goes up and, he's like, this is Chief without the armor. Yes, I know. And, he breaks it down, tells him the truth. Everyone gets inspired. He's using Chief to be like, yo, Chief is here. We're going to give him hell. And, it's funny. Because as the audience member, I can kind of tilt my head when Keyes is like, you're the same warrior as Master Chief is. And I'm like, yeah, well, except for the reinforced bones, the super strength, the night vision, the enhanced reaction time, and extra muscles, and the fact that Chief is like towering over Keyes and he's not even in his suit. But, that's not what he means. But all that being said, Keyes gave one hell of a speech. His speech was so good, I was ready to fight the Covenant. You know what I mean?
Show those scaly bastards they fucked with the wrong planet!
So after that, we get the bridge scene, and the bridge scene's really cool. because they can't see the Covenant. So Chief like fires a flare over there and it lights up the bridge, and there's so many elites. All hell breaks loose. That's for sure. Lots of gunfire. Really exciting. Halls, Keyes, and Soren all meet up, which their dynamic is really funny because like Keyes and Soren bite at each other, and it's really cute. Back at the bridge after that light up moment, the shit's being escalated up at the ship because once Soren like walked into the hangar, he decided to like look cool and be like, "Did you hear that?" and then walk over towards something without saying like, "Hey guys, there's a problem." And then like jackals roll up, and when I say jackals, I mean they roll up like 50 deep. Like it's a lot of fucking jackals, and people just start dying. So Keyes is ready to go because they're at the hangar with the like last civilian escape ship. And it can't because of course it can't because we need drama. And so Keyes leaves and tells Perez to fly the ship, and he gets surrounded by jackals, and you know, it sucks, but they did it. They killed Keyes. But you know what? He goes out like a badass. He pulls out the pipe and says, "You got a light?" Like he's like, "Bitch, what y'all gonna do?" And then blows the fuck up. Like and such a big explosion. And they did it. They killed Captain Keyes early. Like I knew he was gonna die, but I didn't think he was gonna kill him on reach. So that's interesting. So that's another death on the board is Captain Keyes. I did not call that. I didn't think that, but you know, I don't know how I feel about it. I would have preferred they stick closer to the game narrative, but at the same time, if you're trying to mix it up for the fans of the games, that's a call. But I hope they don't write themselves into some corners when you actually get to the Halo ring. Well, you know, hey, we'll see. If it sucks, I'll let you know it sucks. You know, I'm not gonna hold back. But it was a good death. And when Keyes died, you can really see that Halsey has some feelings, like some residual feelings of the father of her daughter. And you know, it was interesting to see that. And I'm not surprised that she did, right? Because, you know, she obviously must have cared for him at some point, enough to have a kid with him. And they still have a bond of sorts, right? It's a very toxic one, but it's still a thing. And she's broken by it. And I don't know the actress's name, but she did a good job. And I felt bad for her. Because you can kind of feel that regret. Like, you know, maybe there was some stuff she didn't get to say to him. So that sucks. But then it gets worse because a fuck ton of Covenants show up, and we get another really cool fight scene in the hallway with the Spartans. So we get Soren, Vanek, Riz, and Chief just going bonkers, stabbing people, kneeing people in the face, shooting them in the throat. Dope shit. Really cool. We get a cool like little moment where like Soren and Chief like roll over each other's back to reload. And it's really cool. It's cool to see Spartans fighting, even without their armor, but we'll get more into that. Big Boy shows up, Var, Tanani, whatever the fuck, not Arbiter. He shows up and he's ready to run the ones with Chief on site. Chief and him scuffle, and you know, Chief's getting his ass whipped a little bit, which I kind of get because he's like the big bad and he's not in his armor, but you know, we just saw him fight an elite, but maybe Gar Vitani, whatever the fuck his name is, maybe he's just that guy. I don't know. But there's a really funny moment where Chief picks up an energy sword and turns it on, and I was like, oh shit, here we go. Because I thought it was going to be kind of like a reference to that episode of Halo Legends where Chief and an elite fight each other with energy swords. Really cool. But no, right before they start swinging, a random elite shoots Chief in the chest with a plasma pistol, and Gar Vitari cuts that guy's head off because he's like, bitch, did you just steal my kill? Which was like, it's so personal. I don't know why, but it's very personal with this elite. So he really wanted the smoke, but now he can't because Chief has a hole in his chest. So he's about to kill Chief anyway. And then Maki shows up and tells him, stop it. And then Chief sees her. And then they leave. Oh, wait, no. Let me back up. Time for the final death of the episode. Vanek grabs a needler and starts shooting Gar Varati. I'm just going to call him Ferrari. He starts shooting Ferrari. He gets a needle in his chest. And then Ferrari takes the needle out of his chest and then stabs Vanek in his chest. And then it goes off and kills Vanek. And then the episode ends as he looks up through a hole in the roof. And I believe It might be one of his pigeons. It could be, could not be, but they linger on a bird kind of circling in the air. So I thought that was some symbolism there. And so Vanek is the first Spartan of Silver Team to go down. I'm not okay. I really liked Vanek. He was becoming one of my favorite characters. I said that in another review, I believe. He was funny, and so I mean, yeah, that's why you kill him, because he was kind of like I don't want to say fan favorite, but like he was growing and he was funny and he seemed cool. I think people like Vanek even in season 1. Like, he was a cool dude. And so it sucked to see him go. The way the death actually occurred also bothered me, because it was just one needle. And like, they go into a whole spiel in the first episode, the first season, about how the needle rounds work. Like, you need a bunch of them to kind of touch each other. Like, the whole point of a needler is that they super combined. And don't get me wrong, I know the game is different than like the actual in-game lore or like the in-universe lore, but they line up. Like, it's supposed to be a bunch of needles hit something and then they explode. Now, I get that that's not as, they wanted the shock value of like he takes needle out and then hits him in the chest and then you hear the and then he blows up. So I get what you're trying to do, but it's like you could have just used a grenade, like a plasma grenade, or you could have just stabbed him with a sword. So it was kind of a weird, like, that's not how that works. But then it was sad. So there was a lot of stuff happening. But I mean, it's also weird that like the elite guy he just kind of looked at him like, bitch, and then just pulled it out. Like, that's like if you stabbed a guy and then he pulled the knife out and then stabbed you. It's kind of like, what the fuck was that? Like, it was very, very, very intense. And they're trying to obviously sell that this elite is obviously, kind of an extra badass. Again, I don't know if they're trying to say he's the arbiter or whatever. I know I bring him up a lot, it seems, but like the arbiter is a big character in the Halo universe, and not just any arbiter, specifically, the arbiter from Halo 2 and 3 and 5, like the one played by Keith David, that specific arbiter, and his real name is Vel Vadimi. That arbiter is a big deal, but I digress. Overall, again, I actually really liked the episode. It really felt like Reach burning. And it was cool to see the Spartans fight like and be vulnerable. But I still am kind of confused at what the whole deal with the armor is, because the more I watch the series, you're not even having them do super emotive shit. It's not like Chief is breaking down and crying. I mean, don't get me wrong. When Vanek dies, he like holds his hand out and is like, no, and I get that, but he still could have been in the armor. I guess plot wise, it would be a hard sell to have any of that happen if they were in the armor. So I get it. I just hope they get back in the armor at some point, because I just like seeing Spartans in their cool Spartan armor. But I understand the writing complications of like, if you have 3 fully armored Spartans in a hallway, nothing is, it would feel weird for Chief to lose any fight, right? So I get the idea of like, you got to nerf him a little bit, because really Spartans are kind of a part of that echelon of fictional character where it's like, they just don't lose, right? So how do you get to this point? Well, you take their armor away, and now they can at least be hurt and killed, because, for example, if Vanek was in the armor, then he wouldn't die. So I get it, but I also kind of just want them to be back in their armor. So hopefully they'll get back in the armor soon. But apparently it's not on the planet. I guess Ackerson took it with him. So I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe Halsey has some like backup armor or something. I don't know. Maybe they use Cobalt Team's armor or something. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But yeah, episode 4 was pretty good. I'm not going to lie. But, still some weird problems. And I think the final thing I want to touch on is the weird shaman person thing. I don't know. It's because Chief gets his ass whooped, right, and then takes that shot to the stomach, but he doesn't die. So I was very confused. I'm like, are you saying his luck's running out? Because he like passed the coin. Was that like a symbolic, he passed his luck, and so now he's vulnerable? Is that a thing? Or is he lucky that he didn't die from the plasma shot and he didn't get stabbed by Martini guy? I don't know. And I keep going back to that scene with the shaman in the first episode about find your faith, I've seen your death. you don't say that without that meaning some shit. So I don't know. Again, I'm just praying it goes somewhere. And even with the scene of him talking about the whole coin flip, like he knows it's not me, is what he says. He's like, I know I'll lose someone, but it won't be me, because he could just call it, right? He's just lucky. So I see where we go with that. But good episode, and I'm here for it, right? I'm not just watching it because I want to do reviews on it. Like, I'm not just watching it for content. I'm watching it because I'm actually enjoying it. A lot of the fights felt very Halo, with the Marines flying around, and we got to see a Scorpion tank, we got to see a Wraith. I'm here for that. And it feels more like Halo. So it wasn't a bad episode. I enjoyed it. I think that's about it. Again, trying to do the whole unscripted thing, so I can try to get these out a little faster. So tell me what you think of the episode. Did you like it? Did you like the action? Did you see any of those characters dying? Because a lot of them surprised me. I didn't think we were going to lose Vanek. I didn't think any of those characters were going to die, honestly. I didn't think Luis or his boyfriend or Keys or Vanek were going to die. So now I'm kind of like, oh shit, please don't kill Kai or Riz. So tell me what you thought of that. Tell me what you think of these reviews as a whole. Tell me what you think of this format. Do you guys want me to go back to just doing a full script and kind of having that, or do you want me just to kind of go with the flow and talk about the episode? Let me know so I can do what you guys want and we can have just more fun doing it. If you want to see my other reviews, please check those out. I've done a review recap of 1, 2, and 3, and I did something for the first season. So check those out. And I'm Fasa the Silver Chimera. Thank you for sharing your time with me today. It's always appreciated. If you could do me a favor, could you just step on the subscribe button's balls really hard? That would be great. I'd appreciate that so much. And in the meantime, I will see all of you beautiful monsters next time.